What is trauma-based mind control? Trauma-based mind control is a form of mind control that exposes a victim to extreme trauma to the point where it will induce a state of disassociation in them. And then when that person disassociates, often to what is called an alter or a different persona, then the mind controller will then have this separate alter kind of programmed to do different things without the victim's conscious awareness of them having this other role that is doing things. Now what are they doing? Well, this is when things get crazy. You can program an alter to be a sex slave. You can program an alter to be an assassin. You can program an alter to be trading drugs. Any matter of activities that you want to use someone and have them be completely unaware of how they're committing a crime. Look at the classic, iconic movie Psycho. Norman Bates is an earnest boy next door that he disassociates and turns into his mother and kills women. Well, the thing is about that is Norman is not aware of this alter, this mom side of him that enters the picture and is killing the women he's sexually attracted to, right? That's the whole premise of the show, of the movie, and then later on the show Bates Motel. And why it works is there's always this level of having sympathy for Norman because he's not aware of the fact that he's a murderer. So there's like this innocence, and then there's complete savagery. So there is that dual, that's kind of the way that knowing that movie helps you understand disassociation. And another series, I think, that really explains disassociation well and these alters is the United States of Tara. That is a show that focuses on this mother who has had like I don't know how many states, so many different states that she just turns into, and then they're not all necessarily aware of each other. But each of them serve a purpose because, again, they are an alter that helped her navigate the trauma. So if she had, for instance, if you have a sexual assault trauma, you might have a persona that comes out that is just a really strong, aggressive, kind of brass, rough person that kind of it helps you navigate getting out of that. Or what it is your conscious core self is about to enter something scary, and it actually just wants a stronger personality to take over, and that happens. That's the same with Norman. Is the mom personality of him was a stronger, more dominant, or it was exactly kind of the exact opposite of what his character was. But these are, of course, the depictions that are in pop culture and movies. So what a real scenario with trauma-based mind control looks like is a far darker, insidious thing. What it is it's somebody who is very well versed in programming the subconscious mind and inducing a state of disassociation. And you can see this, you can learn about this on the Vigilant Citizen website. He talks a lot about trauma-based mind control, MK Ultra mind control, and another source to have as your frame of reference is Stranger Things and the character of 11. That's straight up, that's MK Ultra mind control. And then there's also MK Ultra mind control and trauma-based mind control is also depicted in that Manchurian Candidate movie that is about a president candidate, who are they controlling with trigger words. He's under mind control. He's under an alter. There's certain words they can trigger, and he'll do whatever they want, right? He's a puppet. Okay, so, and then then there's another thing, one more reference. This is reference information overload. But Keith Raniere, that cult of Nexium that had the Supergirl, no, Lois Lane, that CW show, girl that was the madame that was recruiting people into this sex cult, that again also used trauma-based mind control, if you read anything about it. So trauma-based mind control, inducing a state where somebody was in such high-level trauma that they'll do anything to get away, and this handler that induces the drama wants them to get in a disassociative state so that then they can then program and alter to then carry out tasks. And this is a long process. This isn't just one and done. This is something that people do this is the kind of dark thing that people are doing to young kids. And so they may not be aware of an entire aspect of themselves. They just know that there's something is wrong, and then it's leaking out in other parts of the psyche. But they have so much. They're usually weighed down with so much programming that they're also programmed that if they do want to speak out or talk about this mind control, they get mind control to think that they will die, right? So this is it's a really complex, very behind the curtain aspect of mind control. And the thing about it is the trauma is one aspect, kind of that trauma, torture, and then there will be an immediate kind of, and this is like all cycles of abuse, an immediate kind of protection, love, kind of from the handler. Like the person who's doing the torture will then be the comforter after. And another person who actually went through this kind of mind control is Teal Swan. She went through ritualistic abuse, and when she talks about her story, even though she didn't use the word trauma-based mind control, it was very clear that was what she went through. This isn't a crazy thing, because there are actual special therapists for ritual abuse and for this level of deprogramming to get the brain away from, or to get the brain back to its true safe self, because there are these hidden alters and this disassociation, and as a result that is so heavy on that person doesn't even know what's wrong, but they have been reduced to kind of this lobotomized mannequin that is just a little is empty, because they've really been through extreme amounts of subconscious program, mind control, torture, trauma, really horrible stuff, but yet they can't have a grasp of the cause and effect. They just have, because it's very insidious and evil. It's not like, it is not like the mind control of just the news doing general fear, but the news is doing trauma-based mind control on its own way. How is it doing that? It puts us through a collective experience of all watching something really graphic or horrifying, and then because we've all while we're in that state, it kind of will be like, and now that you're in this absolute fear state, here's who the savior is, and here's who's bad, and here, it's kind of, they do a different programming, and not everyone's susceptible to that. But you are susceptible if it's a one-on-one handler who is inducing disassociation in you in order to then program various alters. And the theory about trauma-based mind control is that a lot of pop stars and young women, Ariana Grande, Britney Spears, and all kinds of pop stars, Lady Gaga, that all of them have a level of different mind control. And you can get more information about this on Vigilant Citizens blog. For me, I'm just trying to kind of get the very basic concept to a lay person. And the thing about this is I'm not claiming to say that I know for a fact who is under this form of mind control. I do not. I just know what it is, and I find it very terrifying. And I think it's something that a lot of people are not aware of, and so I think it's important to understand, because it also helps you understand other mind control that's not this one-on-one level, but it helps you kind of see a similar pattern, because ever since I've learned about it, I've recognized when trauma is being used to control me. Because people will always use what they find as your trigger point, your trauma, and your wounds to then emotionally manipulate you. Whether that's the figurative, like being dropped in some kind of horrible like vat of rats, like the 1984 Winston Smith torture, or if it's something less visceral and it's just not just, but the level of seeing somebody be murdered on a news network and then watching that. And what the Nexium cult with Keith Raniere used for their trauma-based mind control was they would show somebody their murdered pet, and that would induce a state of disassociation. Or another form of it that's really sick is showing somebody their dead pet and then telling that person that they killed them, they just don't remember, and getting them in that gaslit state where they doubt their reality and they don't know what's real, and they have a lot of guilt. They suddenly then have guilt that they killed their pet, but not remembering, and this person convincing you that, oh, you need to be protected because you're kind of crazy. And that also makes it easy for the programming of disassociation, because you can already convince somebody, oh, you already have a lot of alters, and you already have disassociation, and that's why you don't remember killing your pet. So there's like really some evil layers to this. And Teal Swan, one of her epiphanies in her extreme ritual abuse scenarios was that she realized, so for instance, her handler, the abusive person that was handling her and doing these ritualistic occult abuse tactics and mind control, he would always give her ketamine in order to, sedate, get her in that state. And she became so, used to it that she would let, the less doses, she was pretty cognizant. And so at one point she realized that this abuser had killed someone. I'm not sure if it was a pet or a person. It was definitely, might have been both. I mean, this is dark stuff. This isn't Disney. We're not in Kansas anymore. But Teal Swan said that he tried to convince her that she did that, and she knew for a fact she hadn't, because she had a tolerance for ketamine, so she had actually been awake and more cognizant than usual. So she actually saw the inner machination, the inner strategy of this abuser trying to control what she believed about herself, and trying to get her to feel shame and guilt about something he did in order to control her and to make her doubt her reality and give more up to him. And so once she saw that, it was a huge epiphany for her, because she was so heavily abused as a child by this man, that was a revelation that helped open her eyes to the fact that he was lying and trying to control her reality. And so trauma-based mind control there's lots of kind of doors to open with it, because it's dark and it's got a lot of elements. Because like I said, while the basics are using trauma to then induce disassociation, that's kind of one element of it. It depends on what the handlers are doing. Like, again, there's kind of the association of MK Ultra and mind control with pop stars and handlers. And then there's an association of this kind of ritualistic abuse that's kind of the more occult version. And then there's the CIA, and then there's people that are trained as assassins. Like, people are basically under mind control to do all kinds of different tasks. And some of the names for these tasks they'll be called beta. That's the people that are, that's usually like sex cults and the pop stars. That's that level of programming, which focuses on making someone have alters that are really just like a prostitute that does anything, and then they won't even remember it. But of course, the body always remembers, the subconscious remembers. But you see, it's like having these different program files where somebody is another alter person, and then it's a way to almost kind of compartmentalize the consciousness, which is a very fucked up thing to do to somebody. But anyway, and then there are also levels, just like the Manchurian Candidate, of somebody that's basically has certain trigger words and might kill. There's all kinds of then sub-theories related to all of this. But basically, what it is that it's basically like, just like in any abuse cycle, there's that mix of kind of belittling and then reconciliation, warmth, and then there's always this kind of pain pleasure element. And what trauma-based mind control is taking that to an extreme, and it has a level of Stockholm syndrome with it, because people will bond to this handler because the handler is causing the pain but then stopping the pain, and it's very sick. But you've got to be aware of it, because it may not be emphasized in psychology courses now, because really nothing that's true. What we know about psychology is far more advanced than what is taught in school. What's taught in school is really just to keep you in the dark and kind of have a bunch of little terms to memorize. Again, everything has a label and you memorize it. That's not how psychology truly has some dark implementation that we need to know about. It has some actual nuance and complexity, and way beyond just giving DSM labels and then like pretending that you know everything from that label. Like, there's so much more to know, and so it's important to kind of be acquainted with this, because it's used by your basic, run-of-the-mill narcissist, your run-of-the-mill sociopath, and then it's also used by entire organizations. It's used wherever there's corrupt and evil. There's going to be people that are well aware of how to use this kind of mind control, and so it's extremely important to understand it, especially when there is a lot of underground cults and ritual abuse going on. That we know ritual abuse is prevalent because, as I've said, there's an entire discipline of therapists that are they're focused on only victims of ritual abuse. So if they've had to have their entire discipline focus on that, there's a lot more than we're ever told about how much ritual abuse happens. And so, and disassociation, all of these elements are kind of all these different branches in this forest, but it's a big forest. And I hope this was a helpful overview in getting acquainted with the basics.